Welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. In this video, we are going to test whether or not a Kerbin can survive max G load. So let's start a game, sandbox. And let's not forget to name this game. On the first test vehicle, I wanted to see if the G-loads would be a thing in orbit. If you like these type of videos, consider leaving a like and a comment, and if you haven't done so already, consider subscribing. On my first attempt, I tried to balance the center of gravity and the center of lift with the rocket like you would do it in a normal airplane. But again, this is a rocket, so you actually needed the center of lift to be much lower than the center of gravity to keep it from pitching over. At this point, I knew I wasn't going to make orbit, so I wanted to see if I could disassemble the spacecraft just by sheer angular acceleration. And once I did get into orbit, as you can see, I was seeing the same disassembly but no destruction of the spacecraft as in high altitude. And what you're seeing right now is about 2 times the speed. And I tried everything. I even, as you saw, turn the engine back on and trying to create more G-load on that. And then I went and tried to stop this rotation. Nothing helped until I fast forward and then went back to normal speed, and then it fixed itself. At this point, I knew that trying to do it in orbit or in deep space was not going to work. So I went back to the airplane hangar and create a small craft that could be our test bed. this first iteration of the plan did not go according to plan because I had one inlet and two exhausts, and the game doesn't like that. So I went back to a single inlet, single engine, and I believe I just did a standard jet engine because I wanted to avoid the Rapier engine because I knew I did not want to go back into space. But I think long term that should have been what the engine I picked, but hindsight is 2020. Here I wanted to see if a max roll rate would create a G-load, but it never moved the needle. So I have tried even at a higher speed and nothing. So on the second run, I went for a flat yaw pitch, or basically trying to induce a flat spin in the aircraft. And this did result in the needle moving. At this point of stage, my speed was too low to create that high enough G-load. Now that I have reached a high enough speed, I can actually get the needle into red, but still nothing, but not maxing out just yet. The second plan was to go as fast as I could and then pull the flat spin maneuver, which got close, but nothing ever happened. So after the second flight, I realized I probably should go into my settings to see if G-load for this playthrough. And it was not activated, so I activated. I left it at 1G just to see if I could induce a G-lock basically and destroy the plane and the Kerbal. First attempt after doing the settings didn't get a high enough G-load, or correction. So the first attempt after going into the settings, I wasn't going fast enough to create the G-lock, but then I increased my speed to, I think it was about 1,000 meters per second, turned and got the G-lock. So I went back into the settings and maxed out what the max G load is for the turbines to 10 Gs. And I tried this again with the same aircraft. With 10 Gs, I could get close to G-lock, but not quite. So I went back into the settings a third time and set it to about 5 Gs to see if I could get a G-lock with Valentina. Even at 5 Gs, I could not get Valentina to G-lock, even at going max speed. So this is around the time I start looking at Valentina's information and realized she has really good resistance to G-loads. So I went back into the astronaut complex and found the dumbest and the least courageous Kerbinaut I could find, and that was, going to butcher the name, Hudolf Kerman. And he had a pretty low resistance to G-loads. So at the settings set for 5Gs, I was able to get Hudolf to G-lock multiple times, but it required me going at almost the max speed of the aircraft. So maybe next time I will go with more of a rocket maybe, and that will create a higher speed and higher G-load. Next time if I do this, I probably will do a rocket engine instead, get that higher speed and probably, hopefully, a higher G-load for a longer period of time at the 10 G-load setting.